And the gaming industry is undergoing massive global change from explosive audience growth to major shifts in how players spend, how developers build, and even how games get distributed. Chris Hewish is the president of Xsolla, a global leader in video game commerce, and he's been to the forefront of industry trends, including a surge to more than 3.6 billion gamers. That is a huge number. We say good morning to you, Chris.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me on today.
It is great. I couldn't wait to talk to you when I was writing this up last night. I thought, you reach literally half the frickin' planet. What drives this massive global expansion of the gaming industry? What is this about?
You are right, Ken. Gaming truly is a global growth engine, and you mentioned the number of players worldwide, which continues to grow year over year. In fact, gaming now is larger than music and movies combined when you look at the amount of revenue that it generates. And it really is being driven at this time by increased adoption of smartphones all around the world, increased connectivity through better bandwidth on internet and mobile networks, and just rapid growth in a lot of emerging markets like Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and then of course continued growth in the established markets like the US and Europe.
I was going to ask you how much impact you talked about connectivity, Elon Musk's satellites, how that has impacted countries and even parts of the US where it was out of reach to get high speed internet. Now that's basically a thing of the past. You can get internet even at the North Pole. So, how has that impacted? Have you seen an explosive growth now since that has happened in the last couple of years?
We really have. And, it's funny you mention, what is it? Starlink is, I believe, the
Yeah.
Elon Musk satellite product there. A great and sort of anecdote on how that has affected the games industry was I live down here in North Carolina, and when Asheboro was affected by the storms a few years ago, there was a game developer, small game developer there, and they were able to keep themselves up and running because they had one of these satellite links. So they were uninterrupted in their ability to work, which is one side of the equation, of course. And then the ability for players to be able to get those games wherever they are is just incredibly beneficial. And, that is not just, as you pointed out, in emerging markets, but even here in the US, as more and more counties and places around the country are finally getting fast connectivity to the internet. One of the main things that they're doing is playing games, which is fantastic for the industry. And it also just brings people together. It really is the largest sort of common connectivity across the entire globe. Everywhere people are playing games.
What would be nice is instead of picking up guns and shooting at each other, we do it virtually, and whoever wins virtually wins, and leave it at that. Nobody has to die. I mean, maybe we'll get there that day, someday. That would be really nice. Somebody I talked to recently, a therapist, not for personal reasons, but had a theory about this and said that if, especially young testosterone-filled men, and I know you have a lot of women in the gaming industry now, but a lot of men let them get out their frustrations playing this wherever they are picking up guns with big gangs and militia around the world and watch how wars stop. It would be interesting to see. Now, industry revenue right now is expected to hit 189 billion by the end of this year. So for 2025, is there a specific platform or platforms that lead that growth?
So that's one of the great things about the video game industry is every time a new technology comes on the scene, the industry embraces it. People play games on it. So there's always new platforms that people are playing on. The growth is the majority of the growth is happening on mobile as that continues to expand worldwide. People are playing their games longer, they're engaging with them more socially, and so mobile accounts for probably half of that. But we still have very strong and continued growth in PC gaming, console gaming with your PlayStations and Xboxes and Nintendos, which I'm sure there will be a lot of those unwrapped in a few weeks under the trees. And then you have other areas of growth such as virtual reality, augmented reality, cloud gaming. So it's amazing. Everywhere that there's technology, you'll find games and you'll find people playing and spending on those games.
And I touched on it briefly, but women now make up 52% of American gamers. That was a shock to me. How is that influencing the kinds of games being made now?
Yeah, I mean, that is a really fantastic stat. Women have been increasing their share of the player base year over year, and the industry is finally responding. So, as you said, women make up 52% of the US players, and this is driving shifts in games, in the popularity of games, community standards, how people are treating one another in these online environments. Things like game design, the types of games that are being presented. We're seeing more women in leadership roles as well, which is fantastic. So that's inspiring developers to build more inclusive, more profitable experiences. So I think just better, kinder experiences overall. The social and the puzzle genres are certainly the main genres for women, but you do see an increasing number of women playing what you would typically consider to be a guy's game, whether it be one of these shooters like Call of Duty or League of Legends. So women are really strong in the industry. It's making it more, I would say, inclusive for everybody.
Guys getting their asses kicked by women, and they find out later. Whoops, sorry about that,
There's some
guys.
screamers out there you can see,
There you
yes.
go. We have about 20 seconds left. What's a website, Chris, for more information for you guys?
Our website is xsolla.com, spelt XSOLLA.com, and we have plenty of information about the industry there, including our quarterly, our biannual industry report that you can go download now.
All right, Chris Hewish, president of Xsolla. Thank you for coming on. Happy holidays, my friend.
Thank you, sir. You too.